Trisha the Knitting Lady again. I think I'll just put out an additional video for the day and save the others for tomorrow or during the week when I get to them. Now this will be the International Quilt Museum that I took a side trip to go to Lincoln, Nebraska and see. The University of Nebraska is there in Lincoln, and also it's the capital of Nebraska. It's an hour out of Omaha. Quaint little college town. Well, it's not really, it's a city. But they have the quilt museum there. So I've always been fascinated by quilts. I don't quilt, but I just like looking at them. And then I came back and went to Union Station, which they made a museum of. I love trains, I love old railroad stations. They even had a place there where you could have something to eat, and they would make you a phosphate, which I had to have, because I remember going to a store where I lived in Jersey, and they used to make the soda from scratch. It was great. I missed that. So I had a phosphate. It was yummy. That's what did I have too? A hot dog. I don't have, they had a limited menu, which was okay, but I didn't want anything more than that. And that's about it for the rest of my stay in Omaha. It was interesting. I'd go back. I found a great Mexican place across the street from the hotel. If you're ever in Omaha, go to Hook and Lime. You will not regret it. In fact, I went there both nights because the food was that good, and it was right across the street. They make margaritas too. I am not a margarita drinker, but they looked good. But the second night I had lemonade. They make their own lemonade, and it was really good. It's one thing I can't get the hang of making lemonade. I'll have to work on it. I know, how hard could it be, but what can you say? All right, so I hope you enjoy my visit to the Quilt Museum and the museum in the train station, and they have a replica of Warren Buffett's father's store. So people ask, why does Warren Buffett stay in Omaha? Well, that's where his family settled, and that's where they made their money. So, interesting city. Okay. Hi, it's Wednesday, and I'm at the International Quilt Museum in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's an hour out of Omaha, and even though I don't quilt, I just love to go to see quilts. And this is a collection by this one MJ Kinman, and she's from Kentucky. See, they do look like gemstones. Beautiful, huh? These look like diamonds. Here's a ruby. This one in particular is new this year, called Victoria's Song. This quilt is from Greece. This was made by one of the Native Americans in Canada. Tells an interesting story. This is from New Mexico. Wow. Look at, they're called memory jars, and look at all the stuff that's attached. That would make a great wall hanging. Believe it or not, this is a quilt. It's a kaleidoscope quilt, and this is a whole collection they have of red and white quilts. A couple rooms of red and white quilts. More of them. This quilt has names in each square. All red and white, unusual. And this is about the 1910 World's Fair where McKinley was shot. Each square has a photo of something different. Isn't that unusual to put that on a quilt? The Temple of Music where the president was shot. Okay, it was called the Pan American Expedition in Buffalo, New York. It was like a World's Fair. Everything about this museum is well designed, including the stairs. It's a slow climb. Really nice. And this was a sculpture outside the museum. I'm at the Dora Museum, downtown Omaha, and this is in the Omaha Union Station. Interesting. The theme of this is the 1940s railroad station. There's the guys returning, military, and a couple saying their goodbyes before they leave, or he leaves. Of course, someone to take the station to the trains. Now, you know, a railroad station has a special place in my heart since I retired from the railroad. Sign for the cabs, check your cab, which you don't see anymore. Hey, checking the itinerary. Look at this, it looks like an old soda fountain. Now, this locomotive was built in 1890. Union Pacific, it's a caboose. Union Pacific Railroad still operates. In fact, the museum is in Council Bluffs, Iowa, which is not far from here. This is an old map of the Union Pacific Railroad. Such a beautiful station. This reminds of me traveling when I was young with my mother. My mother's family lived in Pennsylvania, and we would take the train from New York and later Newark, New Jersey, to go visit. I'm looking at a lot of the history of Omaha, and this must have been part of Brian Reed's house. I think he was the collector. It's a gorgeous window, isn't it? Well, there's a Wells Fargo wagon. Imagine riding in that, delivering the mail, riding to the next destination. Must have been a horrible ride. Now, this looks like it was a streetcar. And who doesn't know Warren Buffett? Well, start of his family, started in the grocery business.